Me in this hair. What's up, Facebook? The Facebook. I don't want to get my hair caught.
I see. Fly back in there somewhere.
You good?
Your mama like that cinnamon?
She did. It was pineapple.
Pineapple.
Of course she did.
I don't know.
She
Listen,
loves
don't
the
talk to me
pineapple.
that way.
Hey,
This is a work in
Facebook. Hey,
progress.
Tanisha. Thank you all for tuning in. This is Soul Therapy Radio with Rubi D and
For real?
guest co-host Miss Nubia.
It's a hair
So,
It's
guys.
a haircut.
It's a hair clip.
So,
Come on, figure
I
out.
don't
You
mind
Open
the
it wide.
hair.
Open it.
But
the
see,
Don't
square,
mind the
you know, the
hair.
square and the peg.
Open it
You know
wide.
you had to.
it's
Problem solved.
covering camera.
That was. So
But you don't want it to cover the camera, so what you want to do?
Right.
Right. So maybe if you turn your phone.
Why is it telling me I can't do this while I'm
Hey, okay. Let me get this so I can share.
Oh, you know what? Don't talk about me like that. Don't do that. Listen,
You see how that?
that works.
Look at that.
Look at God.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at Joy.
Look at the joystick. Look at the joystick working.
Listen, it was a great night. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, she had a couple of shows this weekend.
Well, you had a show last night.
I had a show last night, and I
Where you was
did
at?
one for Valentine's Day. Last night we was at the Calabar with Anisha Deshay with Love is Like Poetry. It was good. Place was super packed. I mean, super packed.
Hey,
It was beyond standing room only. I think they ran out of chairs and tables.
1, 2, 3, 4.
yeah,
Yeah,
she was
1,
up
2,
in there
3,
doing the thing.
It took me until last week to figure that shit out. I was like, hold up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, instead of doing this. Okay, say something.
right.
This is
You
you
can
just
put a
turn me
number
on.
on that.
Okay.
Nah,
So Therapy Radio.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello,
Okay, that's
Latoya.
it,
Thank you all for tuning in.
Add some more.
Hmm.
Add some more.
You don't remember?
Alright, you ready? Y'all ready?
Yep.
Yep, I'm ready.
What time the show start?
I know what time to start.
Oh,
Noon.
Oh, okay.
yeah. That's
I was late too, y'all.
And Eddie was late. Don't worry, everybody was late. Except the dude that drove all the way from Auburn this morning to make sure that he got here on time for his radio personality.
And we love you for that. Thank you.
Don't trip over the
We
gift.
love you too. We don't trip over the guilt.
Yeah.
Did I mention I drove all the way from Auburn, Alabama this morning?
Yeah, it's cool. That ain't that far.
It was raining.
That's still not
Nah,
that
I
far.
almost tripped that.
It was raining.
Somebody must got a group text. What's going on the phone?
why.
Probably my sister. She's preparing for her vow renewal in Vegas.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Alright, you ready? Y'all ready to do some radio?
Of course. Of course.
She good. She gonna come in now to watch her.
Hey, happy Sunday. This is Rubi D and this is Soul Therapy Radio here on Power 108.9. And you know we have my beautiful guest co-host, Miss Nubi So Goddess in the building. Hey.
Hey.
But on today's episode or today's show, we will be discussing sex and emotional illness. Y'all know, we just had Valentine's Day, and we had to throw some love or some relationships in there, just a little bit more. But when we come back, we will definitely get into this topic. Today's show is sponsored by the Rise Brown book series focused on you becoming the best version of you in order to manifest success personally as well as professionally, and you can check that out at www.thegoddessgrind.com. This is Soul Therapy Radio on Power 108.9. We'll be back.
I tagged you on that one too. You saw that? So that feed, they can hear. Damn.
That's that guilt.
Ooh! There it is, right there.
I like how you use the show, though. I like that. Compounded on my chest. And why you looking at me like you ass?
Don't forget I control the mic. But no, they can hear on that video I tagged you, and they can hear everything coming out of here.
Oh, okay, cool. Because, I was wondering that, like, what he needs some of that peach moonshine. He got to clear all the blockage.
You gotta clear his conscience.
Clear the blockage.
I got something for you.
Look at God moving in this life.
What's your favorite song?
Come on back to your regular color.
Oh.
Drink you some more water, because you turned a little red over there.
He probably need a shot of that moonshine for real.
No more shot. Eddie, that don't work.
I know it don't.
Now do like they did back in the day, blow in his face like they did the baby.
I'm blowing over here now.
Ooh.
Girl, you need to go back. I know you probably didn't watch the show from last week, but you have to go back and watch it.
You ready?
Yes, I am. And we're back to Soul Therapy Radio with Rubi D and my special guest co-host, Miss Nubi So Goddess. And of course, before we went to break, I told you that today's topic was sex
Yeah.
and emotional illness.
Oh, now wait a minute. Let me get my disclaimer.
Yeah, go ahead and get your disclaimer out there.
This is my disclaimer. This is not the disclaimer of Ruby or Power 108.9. Today's topic, I am an innocent bystander.
Yeah.
I am not a master at this subject of paraphernalia. I'm just here. I can only give
I take full
experiences.
responsibility. Full responsibility.
I just give experiences and whatnot. And if spirit come through and say some things, then
Hey, we're gonna roll with it. But like I said, we just celebrated Valentine's. Well, hopefully you celebrated Valentine's, even if it was with your significant other or you celebrated yourself or your kids or whatever it was. That's cool. But today we are discussing sex, not sex like the physical part of it, but we are referring more to the energy side of it, sacred energy exchanges. And I know people are not familiar with that as much as people are familiar with the physical part of it. It's just, ooh, she's talking about sex. This is going to be good. No, it's going to be good for a bunch of different reasons. But with the sacred energy exchange, basically it involves everything before the actual physical act. And that includes the physical connection. Of course, when you meet somebody, you're initially attracted to them, because if you wouldn't, you wouldn't even be considering. Well, if this is, if you're considering this or taking this step with somebody, you have to have some type of physical connection, some type of physical attraction to this person.
Really?
Yes. And for women, there has to be some type of emotional connection. Now keep in mind, I am talking about sacred energy exchanges, not just sex. Because, with sex, you ain't got to have all this stuff. That's just, something for you to be out there doing. But what we're talking about today, it's the deeper level. It's going beyond the surface. Also, there is energy, the energy that you and this other person feel when you're together. Mm-hmm. Because, of course, you have to feel a certain energy to even get into that particular act or move in that direction. Because good and well, if you're not feeling him like that, it don't matter what he do. He can buy you a car, for women like me, I'll put it like that. It don't matter what you buy. If we not grooving like that, we not vibing like that, it's just not gonna happen. And of course, your thoughts. Of course, when you think about that person, you have to think about them in some type of way where it's just, hey, we cool or whatever. You know, it has to just go beyond, you know, that's my brother, we just friends. That really,
this is
really
just
movie.
This is a subject
Okay,
that I can just go into so many different avenues for so many different reasons.
Yeah, okay, we gonna get to that. And actions, you know, sacred energy exchanges. It's a combination of all of that outside of just the physical part of it. And the reason that I really wanted to talk about this today is because, you know, we were discussing a little bit in the car on the way over here. When it comes to Valentine's Day, of course, that's the day that people really want to show love. It don't matter how jacked up your relationship been up until that day. It's just like, okay, this day we're just going to fall aside, enjoy each other, and then we'll get back to it tomorrow. But it's just like, is that all?
It's quite interesting that you say that, because I saw someone make a post about it. Valentine's Day is for those who ain't did shit all year. And now you're trying to make up for it, and hopefully that'll tide you over for the next 3-4 months. And that's just not the type of person I am.
Right.
Like,
I'm not like that either.
Right. I do stuff for my boo, like, just
all
throughout the year. Yeah, just. And sometimes it's not even so much as you surprising them. It just maybe something that they asking for that they can't do themselves. That's love.
Exactly.
You know, that's love. That's how we roll.
Right.
It's not a one time a year thing where you trying to make up for the rest of the year that you ain't did nothing.
Right. Trying to, you know, your real boo trying to make your work boo look bad. It ain't that kind of thing.
So we talking about work boos too?
No, we ain't talking about. Hopefully, they not indulging in the sacred energy exchanges. You know, hopefully you keeping that for your real boo, for the one that actually help you at the house, pay some bills, there to support you and whatever. But
you know, these girls doing something strange, so some change these days.
Well, we ain't talking. They probably need to listen to this though. But even then, on the flip side, you know how men. I've seen a few posts on Facebook where men say, "Look." We don't want the same old thing we've been getting the whole year. If that's all you got to offer.
Coochie is not a Valentine's Day gift. That's what they talking about. No, we're gonna keep it real. We're gonna keep it 100.
She already gave her disclaimer. You were not in here when she gave the disclaimer. You stepped out.
But I just gave it again, so everybody who's listening, they know it is not. I saw some men post that these men are getting themselves together now. I'm telling you, it's a whole shift happening right now, and they are not taking just the regular.
Right, and that's what I'm saying with sacred energy exchanges.
Right, it's me.
Yeah,
23 years.
23. Look, he said 23 years. Yeah.
It's been way beyond just physical for you. You got some time invested. Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. It goes beyond just the physical part of it, and.
What? That's the product of it. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. The result. Oh, I don't know, but. Y'all so silly.
What you think, Eddie, my son?
I don't know. Y'all favor. Look, I don't know.
She just looking at the light skin.
Right.
And the glasses. The light skin and the glasses.
Look, wow. Light skin people look alike. No, I'm just kidding.
But
we got something for them shoes you got on, though.
Listen, I just threw them suckers on because it's just
one of them days. She had one of them nights, and it's just been.
I mean, it was a good night, but still, you know.
That's good, but we don't. You know, we just scratching the surface right now, but we are gonna get into this topic. Really?
Because I have on my anklet and it jingles.
Right. Really?
Because I didn't take it off last night.
Really? You know, I like your ankle bracelet. It's cool. It's cool. Thank you.
Listen.
Are we going to a place
where you know that?
It does. It does. But this is Soul Therapy Radio with Ruby and my special guest, Miss Nubi So GoldenNubi. And we're going to get more into this topic when we come back here on Power 108.9.
Take us out to the break.
That's right.
With the bell.
But
can we hit the bell? There you go.
Girl.
To go riding in a one-horse sleigh.
So silly. Really?
Man.
But she did say something like, we'll come there, she was like, oh, I gotta take that. take the ankle bracelet off.
Yeah.
No, you better.
It's okay. It's okay.
So I'm saying, what you say, coochie and a Valentine's Day gift?
Acceptable
not.
Valentine's Day gift from women to men anymore.
Why you keep looking
You
at
look
me?
like
I'm curious.
I take it,
Why
but
you keep looking at me?
I take it, but that's not considered a gift.
But in my
You're
mind,
dating,
you giving that,
right?
you better
I don't
be
do
pulling
Valentine's
out some
Day.
tricks that you ain't did before.
Right.
It's
I'm
been,
just
Exactly.
saying, you know,
it's
If
been
that's gonna be the
4 years
gift,
since
bring it with some newness.
with some flair. You
Yeah.
know, get that lingerie that you won't normally wear. You know,
Go buy some new.
some new. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Buy
Go
something
ahead and get that pole, put it in the
new.
room.
Right.
Make sure it's secure.
Right. Learn a new
We don't want
position.
you-
Learn a new trick. You know, tie 'em up for
On
me.
the chain today.
Hello.
You had to start
Hey
y'all all the
Monique.
time.
Hello
Time
beautiful.
up.
Hey Erica. Thank you all
Yeah.
here on Facebook for tuning in to Soul Therapy Radio. Today's topic is sex and emotional illness.
That's what you need.
You know, that glow in the dark
You
paint
need
to
some
lose
glow in the
the
dark
most.
tribal paint.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that a little more. Yeah.
And some black
Listen,
Okay.
add a little spice into your life.
You ready?
I'm ready. Of course I am.
Look how ratchet they get.
See? See?
Hey, and welcome back. Soul Therapy Radio with Ruby and my special co-host, Miss Nubi So Goddess. And we are discussing sex and emotional illness. So before we went to break, we talked a little bit about what a sacred energy exchange is. And that was quite an interesting conversation. And Miss Nubia gave her disclaimer already. She might have to give it again, throughout the show, but that's cool.
I am no expert in this field.
She's just, whatever you get, that's what you get. But what does that have to do with, or how is that connected to emotional illness? Well, you have to think about it like this. Of course, for us women, for the ladies, in order for us to connect with a man in that way, there has to be some level of emotion attached to it. We don't just go out there and just be like, hey, let's do this. In most cases, there are some exceptions to that. There are some exceptions, I will say that. But in most cases, if you are wanting to be in a committed relationship, a healthy committed relationship, there has to be an emotional connection there.
Right.
So of course, when for men, it's not exactly the same. Men at some point emotions play a part in that, but when y'all know hopefully y'all know that I'm a chakra expert. So everything that I discuss is related to the chakras in some way. So today's topic is connected to the sacral chakra. And that particular chakra is associated with sexuality, emotions, creativity, relationships, that type of thing. So for women, pretty much the sacral chakra is located in the womb area for us.
Listen, wait a minute.
We gonna come back to that, but it's located in the womb area. So for us women, naturally, it's associated with emotions. Whereas for men, when it comes to sexuality, it's more so in the root chakra, because men they're basically here to reproduce and it's basically
Really?
yes.
Is that what you think?
Primarily, that's what their purpose is. Primarily, they have to reproduce. Of course, that's why men can impregnate women their whole lives, but us women, we can only,
We can't.
I don't really.
well, let me not say it. They're still capable of doing it at some point. It doesn't cut off for them.
I mean,
And you have to-
say that's their only reason.
But you have to understand where I'm coming from now. I'm just saying, as far as energy is associated with it, primarily that's a main purpose. That's why they're here. And with the root chakra is associated with survival. So energetically, men are more wired sexually or energetically in the root chakra, whereas women are more wired energetically in the sacral chakra. That's why it's so much more emotional for us, and it doesn't have to be for them. Get what I'm saying? Get what I'm saying?
I hear
My
you.
chakras are mine.
He's so good.
I hear you.
But I mean, and you know, this is what I've been studying and learning over time. But in order for a relationship to really work, it's like the men and the women have to meet in the middle. So men, to some degree, in order to understand a woman energetically, they have to be emotional or in touch with their emotions. Where at the same time, women, because we're so emotional, we have to sometimes detach ourselves from that in order to meet them halfway, to understand where that connection exists and how we need to connect.
Michael, don't be looking at me like that. 'Cause you waiting on the foot to drop. That's what you waiting on.
So that's where I'm saying, when it comes to sacred energy exchanges and the connection to emotional illness, when there's a disconnect there, then for us, for women, you know, that bothers us emotionally. Think about cheating. Men can cheat and say, and not, you know, say she didn't mean nothing to me, it was just physical. But if their woman goes and cheats, then it hurts them because they know it was emotional. She didn't just go out there and do that.
Yeah.
So emotionally, it bothers them.
It's for me.
He wants to say, yeah, he
For
can
me,
chime
it's
in.
more like I understand the emotional side of it. Because for me, I get mad more so like I get more mad if you give your emotions away. I really don't care about
Exactly.
a girl giving her body away because you know it's the same thing I got. But if you give your emotions away to someone else, then it's like, we got problems. Then you got extra emotions that you're not giving to me. So if you're angry, the only person you should be angry at is me. If you're angry at some other dude, we got an issue.
Okay,
you know
so
what I'm saying?
then with you saying that,
What?
she can give herself away emotionally and not ever have sex with that man,
And it'd be a problem.
and it's still a problem.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to say, so in that case, cheating goes beyond physical.
Right. It does. Come on.
So it goes beyond sex.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why I
Definitely.
hear you, but
Definitely, it does.
you know,
It's definitely beyond. It's definitely beyond. So like for example, if you know if you have a lady dreaming about another dude, that's you know.
first of all, we do that all the time because Denzel is the truth.
Wow. But still, like it's definitely way past physical, cheating or quote unquote whatever you consider to be cheating. I consider emotional cheating or giving your emotions or energy.
So what's worse?
Someone else. What's worse? For me, obviously the emotions. For women, because that's that is your power. That's what y'all stem from. Like you're saying, like your chakras are more. Like,
And men don't have the same power with their emotions.
It's not the same.
They're not
I'm just
energetically wired the
It's not
same
the
way.
same.
Again, I'm not the expert here.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not the expert either, but it's not the same. Like our emotions are.
Y'all don't have the same emotions.
Not when it comes to we have the same emotions. Yes, we don't. You trying to get me tripped up?
No, I'm not. I'm asking a real question.
We
This
have the
is a
same
real question.
emotions. Of course, we have the same emotions, but I wouldn't say our emotions are tied to sex in that way. I wouldn't say it is.
And to kind of piggyback off of what he's saying.
I mean, it also depends on the individual too, but
Yeah.
Because
Of
I
course.
know some men who, they
They
kind of
don't.
weird.
Right. But the thing is, when we talk about this particular topic, we have to also understand that within men and women, there's a masculine, divine masculine energy and divine feminine energy. In men, primarily, it's masculine, and that's why they're more logical. They're not tied to their emotions like we are as women because we're primarily feminine. But in finding that balance, that's why I said we have to meet in the middle, because you may say, you don't understand it from an emotional standpoint for him, but that's where you have to meet him in the middle. It's like, even though it's emotional for him, it's logically emotional for him.
correct.
Whereas for you, it's emotionally emotional. Okay.
And he would bring us out for that.
Well, hey, that's ultimately what it leads to when you have all these emotions and everything. Get into it. Hey, y'all, we gonna get some more into this topic. Hi, mommy. We're going to get more into this topic here on Soul Therapy Radio on Power 108.9.
They know my good God. I ain't gonna say that, not today.
No, don't. Don't do it. Don't do it.
But it's interesting what he wrote on this board.
What did he write?
After the third time smashing for men, emotions come after that.
I mean,
I don't know. I can't agree with that. Yeah, I really think it's a case by case situation.
I think logically they have to see if it's even worth getting emotionally involved. At that point,
I mean,
they gotta see, is this emotionally worth?
This is crazy. She put herself in. Logically, yes.
I'm just saying.
Logically, yes. Is it worth that? Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why we gotta start meeting in the middle.
The first time he was drunk, oh come on, Michael. Not the first time he was drunk. The second time he came too fast. Oh, so the first time he had to prove himself. So that's when the emotions came in. I'm done. Good day. He said he was so good. I can't.
Am I right?
This is logically.
Does he act up only when I come?
No, because that's why I said you need to go back and watch the show for last year. Because when my mama was here, that's why he played that truffle butter. Cause girl, I had my mama tell her, I want some truffle butter.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Oh
no,
my
you
God.
don't. No, mama.
Her mama last week talking about, I want some truffle butter.
I'm like, no, you do
Like,
not.
nah, no, you
No.
Well,
She don't know what that is, and I wasn't even about to explain it to her.
She
Just
wanted
know.
some of that
I
Lil
guess
Wayne
I
Nick.
get
oh, she wanted a little.
different
Oh,
types of
Yeah.
things. Because I know some men that it's different with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the first time, it's calculated.
What's calculated?
Just the whole concept of being involved with someone sexually.
Talking about like emotionally?
Yeah.
And we're coming back to Soul Therapy Radio here on Power 108.9. I am Rubi D, and my special guest co-host is Miss Nubi Soul, and we are discussing sex and emotional illness. Now, I do have a question for you all. Which is more important to you, either here on Facebook land or if you want to call in? But the question is, which is more important? A connection, an emotional connection, or an emotional attachment? So, if you want to call in and give your thoughts or give your answer on that particular question, it's 678-383-2339, or either you can chime in here on Facebook and share your answer there.
But you know, there's a difference that a lot of people don't
Exactly.
realize between those two phrases.
And that's why I asked.
And even at the same time, when you talk about sexual, I'm sorry, what's the title again? Listen, I'm still.
Sacred energy exchanges. Sex.
Sex and
Yes.
emotional illness.
Yes.
Like that really is a thing. There is such a thing as getting physically sick from having too much sex or not enough sex. Or having sex with the wrong people.
Exactly.
Because they have entities attached to them. Come on through.
Girl, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. Sacred energy exchanges. That's why I say it goes beyond physical.
Right.
And we have to understand, or we have to know that this really exists. And people wonder why, girl, it was just sex. How can you be so emotionally upset, so energetically? Because first of all, you knew you shouldn't have been sleeping with that man because you knew he wasn't always all the way right.
Because they ain't all the way right.
That too, that definitely has a lot to do with it. I will agree. But for us that are energetically connected and aware, you have to. Now I know you already know that you have to be a lot more careful about who you choose to connect with in that way.
Right.
It's not. And I don't like to use the word attached because when you think about the definition of attachment and you think about the definition of connection, an attachment is not always wanted.
Exactly.
And in order for you to attach to someone, you don't need their permission. That's why a leech can attach to you. That's why an energy vampire can attach to you. And their intentions are not always good.
Right.
But a connection, that has to be a mutual
There's a mutual
decision to
right.
say, hey, I want to connect to you, and I'm willing to allow you to connect to me.
To
right.
bring you into my energetic space.
Right.
Etherically. Yeah.
Exactly. And when you think about it, there's a lot of emotionally attached sex that's being had. And it's just like, why? Do y'all realize what type of energies y'all are transferring? Especially if you're not aware of chakras and energy and clearing out negative energies and stuff like that, then you are basically dealing with energies that don't even belong to you. And sometimes all of those energies are not even good energies. But then you're wondering why you can't connect, you can't really focus. Connect with somebody. You can't understand why every relationship that you get in, it falls apart. It doesn't go right. First of all, you need to cleanse all of that negative energy out.
You're carrying baggage.
Exactly.
You're carrying baggage.
Energy bags.
You know, people got their hooks on you energetically. You know,
right.
figure that out.
Especially that man, like, and to make the connection to emotional illness. Like I said, it goes back to the sacral chakra, especially for us women, because that's where our sexuality and our emotion lies. You can't say mentally, she crazy about that dude. No, there's an emotional attachment that she has to this dude, and it's affecting her.
Right.
And exactly. And I have to tell people all the time, you have to be aware of energy, because energy fuels thoughts, thoughts fuel emotions, and emotions fuel action.
Right.
And
everything spiritual becomes
right.
physical at some point.
Right. And the only way that you can not behave in such a negative way, if you never had that thought in the first place, you wouldn't be out here acting a certain way.
Right.
If you never connected with that particular guy, or you never connected with that particular girl, and attached, and those negative energies attached to you, then you wouldn't be dealing with certain consequences that you're dealing with now, if you were more aware.
So let's backtrack for a second. So this topic, is it geared more towards monogamous relationships, or?
Girl, this is geared toward any relationship.
I'm just saying, because you have people who don't practice monogamy, you have people who practice polyamory, polyandry. You know, so how does that go across those type of relationships? Is it
same way? It works the same way. If you are choosing to connect
I'm bringing
with,
it up because there's people who are listening
that are actively involved in those types of relationships,
those types of situations. So they may or may not, think the
but it definitely applies to them. And when you're in a relationship like that, if it's the two of you first, and then you all decide to bring in the third person, if y'all are energetically connected, y'all are not going to let a third person come in that's going to ruin that connection, or that's going to mess up that connection. You're still going to be aware.
Right.
And
well, you would hope so.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Theoretically, you would hope so.
You would hope you're not just having
but of course,
swinger party. Anything goes, because you're just trying to get your rocks off. I'm just saying. I mean, we're going to keep it 100.
Exactly. And it's just like,
we gotta connect.
These are the type of conversations that we need to be having for real.
I thought this was just for a couple hours.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Because I mean, there's all kind of people out there right now, and they're doing things that they don't necessarily talk about because they feel it's taboo. They feel that they're going to be shunned for it. And then there are other people who live their life out loud, unapologetically. So, I'm just saying, we need more than an hour, because a lot of this stuff is too deep to try and get into for just an hour.
Like, we could sit here and talk about emotional connections and emotional attachments for an hour.
Because me personally, I would rather have emotional connection. I had an emotional attachment before. And it wasn't pretty.
And that's what people have to realize. Even sexually. Some people just attach because emotionally, he makes me feel good. But you don't even know. I've seen plenty of stories, like even now it's more common with meeting on social media and stuff like that, where the whole connection is taken out of it. Because it's like, I'm not saying that you can't connect over social media. That's not what I'm saying.
That's scary though.
But it takes away from an authentic connection like you have when you meet somebody face to face or in person. And
But do you think that you can meet on social media and then meet that person in person and get that connection still?
yeah,
Okay.
just like you can meet that person, y'all connect on social media, but then y'all get together in person, you be like,
The catfish you.
Right. And it's not even about catfish. You just like something ain't right about that person.
Right.
Energetically, just no. I know it's plenty of women out there right now. Well, me and him, we were cool for like 2 weeks. We were talking, we were da-da-da, and then all of a sudden he didn't call me no more.
What'd you say?
It could be that he don't like you no more. It could be that he ain't interested. It could be after that third time, he was just like, logically, this ain't worth the emotional part of it.
But the question though is how is it that people could date for so long but then get married and it don't work? Like they dated for 10 years but was only married for 2.
I
What
think
happens?
that comes from this like pressure
You
from
think so?
yes, from family, from friends, basically everybody else in your business except you two keeping it real with each other and being like, you know what, we really don't want to get married.
But the connection doesn't override that.
That's what
Wasn't
I'm
there a
saying.
connection? You
Right.
know what we're talking about?
How does
Sometimes
that
it may
work?
not always be about a connection. What we have to realize is that even if you do connect with somebody, it doesn't mean that you're meant to be together.
True.
So
You
You
can
can
connect with
connect
somebody,
and be
but it
cool.
doesn't mean that you're meant to be together in
Right.
an actual romantic relationship.
and be
Okay.
married. And that's why some people, when y'all was apart, it was just like, oh, we cool, we got this. But as soon as y'all get together, that's when other stuff started creeping in, expectations and other stuff like that.
But
And
you
it's
don't
just
have
like,
any expectations prior?
but it's just like, you know, when it comes to the word marriage,
Mhm.
people attach certain things to it.
Mm.
People associate. Well, y'all married now. She said she shouldn't be wearing that, and it's just like, why she been wearing it the whole time? But y'all married now.
That's
what I'm
No,
saying.
I'm just kidding. So this is an Ike and Tina situation.
Hey.
No, I'm just kidding.
No. But we gonna get deeper or move further in this conversation. We are talking sex and emotional illness on Soul Therapy Radio here on Power 108.9. We will be back.
But you brought up a good point. You know, you date for 10 years and you decide to get married, but you're only married for 2 years.
So you know about
Like,
this
what
chakra?
really
What's
happened for
Chakra.
you just
For
to
it.
decide to
Um,
go about it?
I mean, I know
Right.
about it from
And
like
and again, these are like
I
the
know about it from,
conversations
like,
that we don't have. People say, "Oh, we just grew
TV
apart."
Okay.
And then on top of
some
that,
people I've
it's
seen
like,
on Instagram that kind of
I don't know, maybe
I
that
know
was
it's
just
real.
your time together, those 10 years.
cool.
Right.
But
Right?
Yeah.
Because you probably do.
I don't know. I've been married.
Mhm.
Good.
I picked that too.
You did.
I picked that too a long time ago.
I don't know.
I think it's real. I think it can be.
It's just an interesting concept.
It can be real if you,
You know,
because I mean, think about it.
Everything doesn't last forever.
All vibration.
It does.
And that's all it is. Just
There are some
channeling
people
vibration.
who meet
That's how I see it. So.
for 2 weeks and
Somebody
been
be
married
good for
together
2 weeks.
for 50 something years.
That's how
I mean, you got
Easter,
people like you said who date for 2 years
people in Asia
and they only make it
decided
15
they were
years.
with the system
Mhm.
to have connect
You
to
know,
the energy.
Look at Ayanna Van Zandt. She was
Mhm.
with a man for 15 years and decided, I'm not being loved the way that I want to
what
be
I'm
loved.
trying to
into
figure
a
out how to
15-year
do it
relationship.
is-
So it's a lot that plays into it.
Listen
I
to
really
stuff.
think that
Cue stuff up from here.
Mhm.
the biggest
Without
part of
it
this
playing
is
while
communication.
they're talking.
I talk about
But I can
communication
hear it in
a
here.
lot to
Mhm.
various people,
One more time.
and communication is
So
one of
for
those
instance,
things
if
that
they're talking,
I kind of touch bases on with my significant other from time to time, just to kind of make sure. I think people don't communicate enough about where they are within themselves
They don't.
to even
Yeah,
figure
talk.
out where they are within a relationship.
Mhm.
are
To,
you ready?
to you know.
Y'all ready?
Mhm.
I knew he was gonna say some crazy.
She won a Grammy.
She did. She did.
She won
Of
a
course she
Grammy.
knew it. Of course.
And 21 Savage.
He wouldn't be Mike if he wasn't.
Right.
Then we're back, Soul Therapy Radio with Rubi D and my special guest co-host, Miss Nubi So Goddess. We are discussing sex and emotional illness. And of course, if you've been listening and you know that we've been having a good conversation here today. So if you've been watching on Facebook, hopefully, you know, you hear everything. But with what you just said while we were on break, it brings me to our next section that we're going to discuss. But when it comes to breakups, people don't realize how emotionally ill they are until it's time to disconnect or detach from that person. Because think about it. We wonder all the time how women in abusive relationships stay. And it's just like, how can you mentally and emotionally deal with something? And why is it not easier for you to, get away from that? But a lot of the time, it's definitely an emotional attachment, because it gets to the point where even though you know all of this is going on, you've experienced and whatnot, then that emotional and energetic thing starts to happen, where it's just like, well, he's been there for me. We've been through this. We've been through that. I can't do this without him. And all of these different thoughts and emotions come up.
And I can say that from personal experience. And a lot of that is programming.
Mm-hmm.
Because, we're in the South. A lot of us who grew up in the South, we grew up in church, that type of paradigm of, once you get married, it's to death do you part. And no matter what that man does, you're supposed to stay there. So I definitely can agree with that. You have those thoughts that go through your head, because my first marriage was abusive. And
emotionally, you was just, but
I couldn't see myself making it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, because he made the bulk of the money.
And that's why I'm saying that whole, it goes beyond just the mental.
Right. It goes beyond.
And I don't see how people can feel that they can have a mental illness and then be fine, completely fine emotionally.
Right.
It doesn't work separately.
Right.
It goes hand in hand. And when you're trying to, like in relationships, when you break up, it takes a while for you to actually break up. I mean, y'all will be like, you move out and you over here, but emotionally, y'all still together.
Right.
Energetically, y'all still together. And it's just like, you can't, just because a person is out of sight, out of mind, doesn't mean the relationship is over. And that's how you have these situations where people be like, well, I thought y'all broke up. But he called you right there, Carrie, let me call you back this that whole thing. It's just like, y'all already broke up. That's why. Because emotionally and energetically, y'all still together.
Right. Be like, oh, wait a minute. Let me answer this.
So you've done that before.
Listen.
Do y'all do that? Do y'all do stuff like that? Guys.
No, they wait until the phone go to
okay, well, if y'all break up with a girl and y'all be like, I'm done with her.
And then text and be like, I was on the phone. What's up?
Oh, no, it's not.
So they...
Oh, okay.
No,
exactly.
For me, anyway.
Logical.
For me, anyway.
And we emotional. See?
Yeah, for me, if you chuck the deuces have been chucked, their door is shut, their door is not open again. That's me, though. Because I just feel like if you, for whatever reason, if you didn't, if there wasn't anything that we could have sat down and talked about or whatever, and you just decided you wanted to cut ties,
yeah,
I'm fine with that.
But that's what that's like the saying. Like, usually if a woman leaves a man, like it's a done deal.
Yeah.
But if a man leaves, usually he comes back.
Mm-hmm. I think it just depends.
Listen, right? I think it depends too. But I'm just saying, that's the saying that has been said like that.
Right, and the reason they say it is because if a woman truly leaves, that's because she's emotionally detached.
And detached herself.
Right. Whereas with men, because I'm not gonna say y'all don't have feelings, y'all don't have emotions, but because it's not so emotional for y'all, then it's just like y'all can come back and be like, we cool, we cool with it.
But I would argue that I guess in my experience, like 8 out of 10 times, if they chuck the deuces, or if they say, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm not feeling this anymore, and I'm like, all right, cool.
But you have an understanding.
I appreciate you, and then
you have an understanding that it's emotional for women.
But then they always
come back.
They always hit me back up later.
I don't have that.
They always hit me back up later.
I chucked the deuces to my last husband, and those deuces was chucked.
I keep saying
he was the one who was like, I want to come home.
But I can get that though, especially like the energy that I get from you. I get that you're a good dude.
Yeah.
And I get that. Pretty much whatever you say, then that's what it is.
I'm an alright dude. I wouldn't say dude.
Yeah, look, trust me, I done felt some negative energies. I done felt something. I'd be like, oh no, no, you stay over there. I'm gonna stay over here. But like I said, just right now, I get that you're a good dude. And if you spending time with a female, even if you get to the point where you're in a relationship with that girl, then you're in a relationship with her. It ain't no back and forth halfway type thing. If you've made the conscious decision, okay, this is who I'm going to be.
Yeah, that's why I'm really, really slow to do that.
Right.
I'm super slow. It takes me a minute.
It takes you more than 3.
Was that prefaced on the show before? Like, don't even
I'm just here.
But no, it does definitely.
Okay,
Yeah,
it might be a slow 3. Put it like that. It ain't no back to back 3. It might be a month, 2 month long 3.
Y'all really trying to get into why? Y'all trying to,
don't say y'all. I gave my
she's good.
disclaimer.
Nah, I'm just
She's good. She's really trying to get it out of me. Okay, so full disclosure. Well, yeah. Anyways, no, it's not a 3. It's more like a. I'm only going like. What do you have to offer?
Okay.
If all you have to offer is that it's sex,
Right.
then like that's all I'm.
That's all you obligated to, be cool with.
Yeah, but if you telling me you got more to offer than that, then what's up? Because I got a whole lot to offer.
So question, how does this tie in with love languages? Because everybody has a different love language. Some people are very physical, but that may not be the only thing that entices them. They're
Good
just
question.
physical. Because to me, all that ties in.
Well, it does. It definitely does tie in, but energetically. And, energetically, it's just like energy is not conscious of space and time.
Correct.
So even if your love language is quality time, you spending that time together, energetically, you're still connecting to that person. If your love language is gifts, that person buying you gifts, energetically, you're still connecting to that person. So you have to, very important to understand what your love language is.
Right.
So you know how best to connect with them.
Right.
And now that you bring that up, it kind of brings to mind why we attach. We attach to people because of what we think they want. And not necessarily what they tell us they want. That's why you have to be aware of what their love language is and communicate with them in that way.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question on the love language thing. 'Cause just
Why
a
y'all
sidebar.
always get in my business?
So one of the love languages, because I have actually read a book, Against My Better Judgment. My sister was, I thought it was like, when I got into it, I was like, okay, this is pretty insightful. But one of the love languages is quality time. Right. So can you give me what I see quality time as is when you're with the person, you're present, you're enjoying each other, you're in that emotional connection, or how you would say. I don't see quality time as quantity time.
Right.
So when someone tells me you're not giving me enough time, but I'm giving you time, and when I do give you time, to me, it's 100% of my attention and time. And then you go back and tell me that time wasn't enough. That tells me my time wasn't. You don't respect my time.
It tells me.
That's what that tells me. That's how I feel about that.
They just need more attention. That's all. It's a disconnect, and I'm really finished. But from what I'm hearing, is that for them, they have something within themselves that they have to deal with, not recognizing what quality time is versus quantity time.
Exactly. That's exactly, because that's exactly what I was going to say.
Oh, okay.
You talk about quality time and quantity, that's two totally different things. And I think a lot of times, like I say, people don't communicate. They may not even really know what their love language is.
Right.
To say, oh, you're not spending enough time with me. So is that really what concerns you? Like,
it can't be.
Right.
It can't be. It has to be something.
It has to be something
beyond
else,
that.
Beyond that.
And that's the thing. People, we're at this point where people don't want to be emotional. They only want to be emotional when it's convenient for them, and when they feel like they can get something out of it.
True.
They don't want to be emotional and just be who they are because they don't want to be vulnerable. And
they don't want to be hurt.
Right. But it's just like, in order for you to learn anything to some degree, you have to be vulnerable.
Right.
And if you want somebody to allow you to be vulnerable, you have to be that same way with them.
Right.
So emotionally, it's just like we are humans, we are men and women, we are built on emotion. That's how we best communicate with one another. And it's like, it doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter what your facial expressions say. Everything, the only thing that's always going to be true is emotion. And that's going to come out one way or another. It may not necessarily come out at this particular time, but trust me, if you don't like me, at some point in time it's going to come out.
And I'm gonna drink to that.
And we are going to continue this conversation. This is Soul Therapy Radio on Power 108.9. We'll be back.
He brought up a good point. That quality time, and then they be like, "Well, you're not spending enough time with me." Yeah, I heard people say that
All the time.
all the time. And they be looking like, "But we was just like, what you talking about?"
Right.
We was
I
just
was just here all day yesterday.
right. We was laughing. We was having a good time. Now I said I got to go to work. And you
blowing
mad.
up my phone.
Right, you blowing up my phone.
Right. It's that was the whole situation I had like a while back. It was like, all right, you say you're in support of what I'm trying to do with my life. You say you're in support of, you see my vision, you see my goals, and whatnot. Okay, that means I'm not going to be able to put as much time
Right.
into, like, this is my priority. That doesn't mean you're not a priority. But that doesn't mean, that means I'm not going to be able to put as much time as I have been.
And that doesn't mean for that person to say, okay, well, forget you then.
Right. So
Communication.
right. So what happened was, I communicated up front, like, this is what's going on. And what I see back was, I'm in agreement with that. I'm cool with that. Like, I want that to happen. But I'm a little concerned that I won't get any time
Hey,
at all.
Coronado. Hey,
Don't worry
Latessa.
about that.
Thank you all for
I'm
tuning in.
definitely gonna come, make sure I, make some time to see you. And at the same time, I want that in return. Because you got a car, I got a car, we both got jobs. Like, what's the problem? You can't come see me. So, month later, it's an issue. Month later, it's an issue. You don't have to spend more time with me.
It's an issue.
I feel
There's
like I'm
times she
getting.
called
Wait,
her friends. Her
this is what I
friends
got.
they boo.
This is what I got. I was like, oh, okay, so we need to fight. She said, what she say? She said, I feel like I'm getting the crumbs of your time. And I said, oh. And that told me, like, your
crumbs?
yeah, like, so my time is crumbs to you.
Even if it's everything to me.
Yeah, even if it's the most valuable thing we got. The most valuable thing we got, money. Okay. Cars, time, you don't get that back.
Right.
You don't get that back.
It's like, do you realize them crumbs I gave you, I could have been doing somewhere else.
With somebody else.
Hey, Joe.
Don't
We're
be
gonna let
there.
him go to 15, and then let her go to, take her to 8. Let her go to, let her go to 10, 11. Let her go to 11 from here, and then a quick break, and then come right
Then
back
3.
in for the wrap up.
Okay.
But that's real though. A lot of people do that. Like, just being in the music industry alone,
Takes up a lot of time.
It takes a lot of
Rehearsals,
time.
shows, traveling.
rest, preparation,
And then people want to think, oh,
meetings.
you and such and such. I got one of them bracelets. I don't have it on today.
But it's like
I got on my
Joe.
wrist beads though.
oh, okay. In order to be with somebody like that, you kind of have to be like that.
You have to be balanced. You have to emotionally, energetically, mentally, you have to be balanced. Because even if
Come on, Joe.
I get the swing back, huh? Go ahead.
Yeah, you gotta be balanced. But at the same time, like I said, being in this industry that's why a lot of artists and a lot of musicians, they end up dating a lot of people until they find. Some of them get lucky, like early on, and find that person who understands and they get it. Me, my last marriage, not so much. Good riddance. But like currently, I'm good. Like we understand what we're doing.
true. And welcome back to Soul Therapy Radio with Rubi D and special guest co-host Miss Nubi So Goddess here on Power 108.9, and we are discussing sex and emotional illness. Now, if you've been listening in, I'm sure we have said a lot of interesting things. But you know that when I do my radio show, I always want to give some tips or something that's going to help you get through these things. Whatever the discussion is, I try to, offer some things that you can do, some recommendations. So, of course, like Ms. Nubia mentioned earlier, communication is important. You have to communicate with your significant other or others, if you're in one of those relationships. But more importantly, you have to communicate with yourself.
Right.
Just as much as you want that person to be open with you, and listen to you, you have to be open with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. And not only that, you have to be honest with yourself about what the relationship really is.
Right.
And it's just like, if you know you're not happy, don't stay in it. If it's important enough to you to affect you emotionally some type of way.
But can it be fixed?
I mean, pretty much anything can be fixed. And I say it can be fixed because 9 times out of 10, it's all about perception, experience, and what you're willing to actually do or be held accountable for.
Right.
But you have to be comfortable and be real enough with yourself to pay attention to what your feelings are, to what your emotions are, and not have a problem with communicating that to your partner. A lot of people right now are in relationships that they don't want to be in because they're scared to speak up and talk about how they feel, because they're scared of what this other person might do, what they might say, what they might lose. And it's just like, but you're not happy
You're
though.
afraid like that.
Emotionally, you're not happy.
Right.
And at that point, that's when you really have an emotional illness.
Right.
Because you're not even strong enough to make yourself a priority, to be important enough to say, you know what, I cannot continue to allow myself to move forward with this. So you have to communicate with yourself. You have to be, just like you can be savage and everything else with everybody else, you need to be that same way with yourself and be like, look, don't do that. That type of thing. Yes, the That's exactly what you need to do to yourself. If it's effective for your kids, it can be effective for you.
Ooh, it ain't effective for some of them, boy. I tell you.
It's so silly. But outside of communication, be aware of what it is that you truly want. If you're not truly ready for a relationship, don't be in one. If you're not truly ready to go there with that person, like connect sexually with that person, don't do it simply because she got a nice right, or because he in them gray sweatpants, he looking real nice.
Listen, them gray sweatpants, boy. Something about it.
Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, sorry. Exactly.
Focus.
Focus. Yes, I'm focused. But like I said, it goes beyond just that.
Right.
It's not just physical. Think about what they say. Think about how they treat you. Pay attention to the type of energy that they have, not only around you but around other people, because they can act one way around you and act completely different around other people, and then you're like, oh, I've never seen that side of him. Well,
now, interesting you say that, because one of my frat brothers was like, you gotta see how that fool is in rush hour traffic. That's how you know.
Completely different. Like, ooh,
right.
do I really want to deal with this for the rest of my life? He cool everywhere else, but this rush hour traffic, I don't know about this.
When you already know you're in rush hour traffic, you know what you're dealing with. Why are you acting like a maniac right now?
I mean, you can't, when you in rush hour traffic, you can't do nothing. I mean, if I'm in rush hour traffic, I can't do nothing, I'm stuck.
Right.
Put an audio book on, put some music on, too,
Right.
blah, blah, blah.
And that's the whole point. It's just like, there's absolutely nothing that you can do right now but chill.
Right.
Chill and be patient. You ain't even got that. So how you gonna chill and be patient with me?
Listen.
Well, But thank you, exactly. Pay attention to how that person is, not only around you, but around other people. Miss Nubia, before we, go to our next break real quick, do you have any last words on this topic or anything else that you want to say?
Be somebody's pink starburst.
I think I said pink starburst.
Hold up.
Don't be no yellow.
Don't be
the
no
yellow
yellow
starburst.
starburst. Be somebody's pink starburst.
Which one you like better, pink or yellow?
Alright, okay. I like pink better.
He want a pink starburst.
Just don't be nobody red starburst.
Oh,
That's a nasty one.
it is nasty.
Well, I'm a pink starburst. I'm a pink starburst. Like Miss Nubia, that's the word for the day. Be somebody's pink starburst. Facebook, Power 108.9 family, audience, everybody that can hear me. Be somebody's pink starburst. This is Soul Therapy Radio on Power 108.9. We will be back.
Give me some more now, but I couldn't help it.
Hear that, Michael?
Be somebody's pink starburst.
He's gonna go out there. I'm a pink starburst.
I like Starburst.
Do it.
How long I got?
Okay.
You
30
can't play
seconds?
that. Yeah, you can't play that on Facebook.
30 seconds, that's all I got?
Yeah, you can't play it on Facebook. It's gonna mute the video.
So, what you been doing? Just follow though?
Yes.
Facebook
On the outros.
On the outros, you?
Yeah, because the outros are usually longer because she takes her time going out.
Oh, the intro?
Oh.
Intro, you can do a record,
Alright, say that.
but you can only do 30 seconds. All right, you got 3 minutes. Come on back.
Okay, gotcha.
3 minutes, it's a wrap up. Do a Faro Jaro so she can wrap up.
I gotta find out where all your stuff is again. I don't know.
This is right down the email.
Yeah. Soul Therapy Radio with Rubi D and my special guest, Miss Nubi So Goddess, here on Power 108.9. We have had fun discussing our topic today, sex and emotional illness. And y'all know we only ever scratch the surface in these discussions. But we're going to work on that, though. We're going to work on that because we need to have these conversations more in depth.
Yeah.
But I feel, of course, it's important that we have these conversations because we don't have them.
Right.
And if we do have them, we don't have them enough. And we don't have them in the sense where men and women can chime in and actually be open-minded and listening to each side as opposed to blaming one or the other or anything like that. And I'm basically just to the point where if we're not gonna have a discussion about relationships and it be productive, what's the point of us having a conversation? I don't want to hear you complaining because that's not where I'm at. Don't nobody want to hear that.
We're solution oriented over here.
Right. It's all about the solution. It's all about sharing something that you can actually take away from and be like, you know what? I learned something. I didn't know that previously. Let me think about things differently. So, I'm definitely grateful for Power 108.9 and Mr. Producer over there is chilling in the background for the opportunity to be able to, come on air and talk about things that I'm passionate about. But we definitely appreciate you. Make sure you check out the other shows that we have here on Power 108.9. Monday through Friday, we have Mornings with Michael and Friends.
Yup.
7 a.m. to 9 a.m.
I'm coming.
That's early.
That's what she said.
Boy.
Yeah.
Plus, we have other shows. Make sure you follow Power 108.9 on Instagram at Power 108.9. Make sure you follow Soul Therapy Radio on Instagram at soul_therapy_radio. Miss Nubia, where can we find you at?
You can find me on Instagram at official Nubia. That's Nubia Soul Goddess. I am also on Twitter, Nubi So Goddess. I am on Facebook, Nubi So Goddess. You can
Spotify.
find me on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, Google, iHeartRadio, KCSDFM out in Santa Barbara, California, Portland, Oregon. Oh my God,
Just
New
somewhere
York,
everywhere, huh?
Texas.
Just Google
it's
them.
spreading.
Just Google them.
London, the music is spreading. It's a beautiful thing.
That is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we happy for you. See
Yeah.
that?
They played my music on Cheryl Underwood's radio show 2 weeks ago, so I'm in her playlist.
Wow.
Like, yeah, it was a beautiful thing.
Beautiful thing. Make sure y'all support the sister. Make sure y'all support me with Soul Therapy Radio. We will be back soon. Just make sure you check us out online, www.soultherapyradio.life. I am Rubi D. This is my special guest co-host, Miss Nubi So Goddess. We love you. We appreciate you. See you next time. Peace.
Since y'all was talking about gray sweatpants, I had to.
Tell me to turn up.
What did you say?
They call them the thought pan now.
Since y'all was talking about gray
That's
sweatpants, I
what-
had to change.
Oh,
my
oh, my bad. That's the male thought pants. Is that what you said?
For real.
I
Wait,
can't.
where you going with that? Put that on.
See.
It's just a t-shirt and sweatpants. If you don't get back in there and change clothes.
I know. And it's cold outside too.
No.
And it's cold outside too. Supposed to be disappointed.
Ooh, you know what? Good day.
Back on.
Alright.
Good job, y'all.
That was fun. Talking about my chains. Listen, they serve a purpose.
I got it.
Ooh, she gonna slide her foot going out there like instead of walking.
Y'all gonna take a picture out here?
Yes. Oh,
Take a
stop.
picture of my